it is time for the ElseViews. And we've got one because, I mean, I will give honorable mentions to Everything Sucks over on Netflix. The show, not just everything that sucks over on Netflix. And there's other ones that I'll probably talk about next week. But really, there's only one thing, and that is the Black Panther. Now, first off, I want to hit really quick on something that I heard Trevor Noah talk about. And it's something that I like too, even though I'm dumb and I only know English. The language that they're speaking in there is actually, it's called Kosa, and it's actually an African language. And they're actually using it, and Trevor Noah speaks it. And so I saw it because on Facebook, Daily Show has a thing on there called Between the Scenes, where he just talks to the audience and they film him talking to the audience. And he mentions all that. And like, I thought it was like, I thought like one of those African languages, and it was cool to hear him be like, yeah, that's this. And they're saying everything right. So Black Panther came out last Thursday, or I think it premiered like over around the world before that. But for the masses, it came out last Thursday, last Friday. I went and saw it opening, like the very first screening that I could. And I'm pretty sure I just did it as a warning more of, I'm going to talk about this. So if you want to jump on the bandwagon, best watch it before we do the show.
In fact, as I did go see the movie last night, I had a crazy week myself with work. And it was a little bit of a reward to myself. But it was also because since the show had already been pushed back, it gave me the opportunity to see it. And I felt like you were going to want to talk about it. I was not going to want to have it spoiled for myself. And I really wanted to see it. So
it all
just worked out.
Yeah. Okay. So I will this is how I'm going to say it, how good it is as a non-spoiler thing. I was almost going to go see it again today with my mom because I went just by myself, didn't get beat up or whatever, like people are saying and posting on Twitter, and then posting pictures of other people, not realizing that those pictures have been covered in news stories in the past year. Idiots.
Can we just say how wonderful it is that assholes on the internet want to destroy anything that is not their thing? So if a woman is succeeding in the film, oh no, bitches be crazy, you can't have that happen. Why would they have shows that only women can go to? Men couldn't get away with that shit. Men got away with that shit for fucking years. And as far as, oh no, Black Panther, so all these white people who want to go to these movie theaters, they're gonna get beat up by black people. God damn it. Just like
no, so let me ask you this, because this happened actually with mine. With at my theater, there were people dressed in African garb. Now, awesome. None of them had the same complexion that I do. Thank God, because I'd have been like, college kid. But
are you dancing?
But did you are you Robert Downey Jr. in Tropic Thunder? Are we how many shots of Zima are we from blackface right now here? Be honest. God. But no, so like it was cool to see, like the African, and I only say garb because I do not know what they were actually wearing. I didn't go up and ask them because when I am out in the real world, I am very much keep to myself. That is just my nature. Did you see anyone like that, like dressed?
No, I saw it at 5:50 on a Thursday, the week after it came out.
Yeah.
But I do want to point out the theater was pretty full for that time of day and for being a week into it already being out in the theaters and stuff.
Yeah.
So I was impressed by that, but it was a mix of people, and I think that's great because one, this has the advantage of being a Marvel movie that already has a built-in audience. We're now 19 films in, 10 years of these films.
Yeah.
So it has an audience that exists and should already want to see it. But I find it very exciting and encouraging that there is an audience who has felt underserved by films, that this isn't a Medea movie or whatever, no Tyler Perry in this, and that's fine, and it's cool that Tyler Perry has served that audience so well for so many years, but this is something new, and this is something deserved. This is something that I get to enjoy, but they probably get to enjoy, and I say they, not trying to pack everybody into one big group, but people get to enjoy at a whole other level than I do. And I was conscious of that the entire time watching the movie, that I was so excited that this was not made just for me.
I look at this movie as this is the movie that when I watched the Spider-Man cartoon show growing up, the 90, I think it was the 94 Spider-Man cartoon show, or the X-Men show, on Saturday morning cartoons, that made me fall in love with these characters. That's what I feel like this Black Panther is for other kids, because with Spider-Man, I could relate to that character because I've always been, I didn't realize it at the time, but I was nerdy and all that. So it's like, he's like me, he loves science and all that. And so it's like, boom, I can immediately relate to that. That's honestly my hope, for my niece, who is, half black, half white, when she grows up later and she watches this movie and she goes, because she already, my Captain America should let go over here whenever she comes here, like she was here earlier, and she's like, she just looks at me and smiles, go, and I'm like, yes, you can grab the shield, and she pulls it out, and she got it. Damn thing's bigger than her. She could use it as a sled if she wanted to, and she's just holding, she's holding it around and stuff, and then banging on it like it's a drum because she's 2 years old. But that excites me, for her, down the road when she's old enough, she watches this, she'll be like, I want to be like her, and pointing to Sherry, and be like, I want to be like her. And that's where I'll be like, thank you, little one. There is hope in this world.
Which again, you don't have to look up to and want to be like only people who look like you.
Yeah.
But there should be representation of everybody so that everybody gets that opportunity. Mm-hmm. If I spent years looking at long-haired glam metal band people or hair metal band people and tried to make myself seem more like them because I idealized them, but also because, there were similarities in how we look and stuff, or how I looked at that point in time, that's great for me. If I look up on the screen and I've seen people who look like me my entire life in these films, that's great for me. But I want everybody to have that. And not every person who is of African American descent or African descent is going to see Black Panther and have it be their new favorite movie, or identify necessarily with anybody in it. That's okay. It's a personal choice. But I'm just so glad it's there. And the world building in it is fantastic. All the different tribes and stuff that come together to have the fight, they're so cool because everybody feels individual and everybody has their strengths and their weaknesses and the things about them, and it felt very empowering. Also, there were more female characters in this than there were men, and the female characters were presented as being smarter, as being stronger, as being more skilled, as having a better worldview than the narrowness of the men. And I love that too. It didn't put down the men in any way, shape, or form, but it just showed that women could be empowered in a very different way, and sometimes, and in this, most of the time, be stronger.
Yeah.
Everything about this was extremely exciting to me. And on top of that, it was gorgeous to look at. It was smartly written. It was funny at times when it could be funny. It was very serious. It had strong messaging. I think it was really, really cool and so good.
Yeah.
And Beat is pointing out that it actually has a really good antagonist, which is rare for the Marvel Cinematic Universe. A lot of the antagonists are one-offs that don't have a lot of depth, and they're just like... It's not far and away different from the similar stories. Like, how far is it from Whiplash? In like, your family affected my family in such and such way, and I want my revenge on you. But the way that this person was brought up to become who he was far more realistic. And in many ways, it felt more honest.
So I want to point out something here. And this is something that I find amazing and actually brings me hope for the Marvel Cinematic Universe. The writer and director of Black Panther, Ryan Coogler. Do you know how many movies he did before Black Panther?
No, but I remember he did the one that was based on...
He did 2. He did Fruitvale Station in 2013, and then he did Creed in 2015. All of those have one person in common, besides him. One person in common.
Michael B. Jordan.
Yeah, Michael B. Jordan. This is something cool, and like he's done some short films, so it's not like he's only done 3 things. But he did 4 short films before Fruitvale Station. But I look at that and it's like, okay, that's telling me that Marvel is really just looking for people who have talent. If they have a voice that will fit the character, boom, pull him here. Now, I'm going to say this. I haven't heard a lot of people saying this, but I don't really, and this is what makes him a great villain. I don't see Killmonger really as a villain. Only because,
I do.
Well, only because I can see why he's coming from his point of view.
Right, but a person who, wow, I really agree with that guy. I wish he wasn't killing so many good people.
Yeah.
That's vile.
Yeah, I say that, because of the fact that, like, and Beat's right, he's saying antagonist, not villain. Like, I totally get it, because, and this is where we started getting spoiler territory, but with his motivations, it makes perfect sense.
Right. He's not a twirling mustache character. He's not I want to do evil because it's evil. It's his life put him in a path, and in some parts of it, it's revenge, and some parts of it is his worldview is things are being done wrong here, but it's got a depth to it. It's similar to a Magneto more than it is a Doctor Doom.
It's a Doctor Doom from the comics, not Doctor Doom from the past 3 movies.
Honestly, Doctor Doom from the comics was just like, Richards! All the fucking time. Like, he didn't like people because he wasn't pretty. That's a pretty fucked up, stupid way to live. And he was a monarch in his own country and stuff, and couldn't handle the fact that Reed Richards was smarter than him. He's just a petty little bitch.
Yeah, and the other cool thing is they gave Killmonger such a great backstory, but actually a backstory. Yes. more because I mean in the comics his backstory is, oh, my people got, my dad died or whatever. I think he's only been in like 10 issues in the comics in the whole history of Black Panther.
No character was underserved in this.
Yeah.
Everybody who played a part in this, in a major part, felt like they were important, felt like they delivered something that was important to the story. And that depth is what really made it a more interesting film. And I challenge it to even barely be looked at as a superhero film. It's a heroic film. It's a ton of heroes doing heroic things. But as a superhero movie, there's not a lot of that standard costume on costume fighting. We get some of it at the end, but at that point in time, we know everything about the 2 people who are in those suits. The suits don't matter. They're just a weapon. It's the same thing as people fighting in swords in a sword and sorcery film or a medieval show or something.
Yeah.
It's not, I have to do this to save the world, although there is that. It's about becoming this king. The journey is very different. It's about protecting his people. Martin Freeman, Beatmaster, saying was kind of mad. I think he was the role he needed to fill.
He was the token white guy. Like in so many other movies where you take the cast here where, now I'm talking main part of the movie, not end credit scenes. You really had 2 white guys throughout the whole movie. And the rest were people of color. One's a villain, an antagonist. The other is Martin Freeman's character. And like, this is where I totally agree with Scott Johnson when he talked about this on the morning stream this past Monday over on frogpants.com, where he said that, they gave him just enough stuff to do in here, but not be the, like, a central point. He's a little support character, and he has his moments, and then boom, he's out.
Yeah, he was as important in this as maybe a little bit more, but he had as much a role in this as he did in Captain America: Civil War.
Yeah,
realistically, it's not about him.
Yeah, so because we haven't really hit any spoilers yet, still. For people wondering and curious, because one of the guys that I work with, he actually asked, like, he's like, because I asked him, have you seen it yet? He goes, no. And he comes back and he works asset protection for my store. And he comes back and he goes, "So I heard this happen." And I want to go, is it that slow that you're literally just on your phone while you're looking at the cameras and you're just looking up review like stuff about Black Panther? To where I'm like, I'm slowly like I'm having to do a filter in my head of what can I say that's not going to ruin major plot points, but still give him the information he wants.
I saw my first Black Panther meme last night.
Yeah.
And I was like so grateful that I didn't see it until last night after I had seen the movie. Because I really tried to avoid being spoiled on this.
Was it the Michael B. Jordan one?
No, it was the leader of the other tribe who challenged at first.
Yeah,
it was
M'Baku.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember exactly what it was. I think it might have been like something political, where some politician was saying something, and they were all doing the chanting over him, like as he's trying to talk. And it's very similar to "bola bola bola bola" that Michael Rooker does in the first Guardian, but it just works at an even better level. Because that guy was so great. Yeah. Oh man, like that's the thing is. Not in there much, but brings so much to the points where he is. Mm-hmm. And that's exactly what this movie does. It celebrates characters. Like you feel like you know these characters very quickly, and they're all very honest to who they are. They don't feel like they turn on a dime. Like the person who is T'Challa's friend who sort of betrays him, you understand why he betrays him, and you understand how he kind of like comes around after that. It just feels so real. Where does this rank for you as far as Marvel movies go?
So before I say that, real quick, what I was going to say is what a lot of people might be worried or curious about is where this fits in the timeline. This takes place a week after Civil War. It actually has some, because that's what I like that they've done with this and Spider-Man: Homecoming, is they featured some stuff in there, from from Civil War to fill it in. But this takes place a week after Civil War for people who are wondering. But where does this fit? Oh gosh, this is easily top 5 for me.
Yeah, I feel like right now this is top 3 for me.
Yeah,
it's a viable top 2, but I haven't seen it enough yet. I've only seen it the once, and other Marvel movies I've seen multiple times. But then there are Marvel movies that I don't necessarily go back and rewatch as much.
I mean, I'm only saying that because, and I hate saying like ranking movies like, oh, this one sucked, this one didn't, but because they all bring such different things to the table. But like my favorite movies in the Marvel Cinematic Universe right now: Thor Ragnarok, you best believe I'm picking that up on the 4K. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1 and 2, and then Civil War was great. Spider-Man: Homecoming was great, and then obviously Black Panther. But then again, it's like I haven't watched a movie, a Marvel Cinematic Universe movie, and been like, well, now I'm in the prequel side of things here. Like that movie sucked.
Yeah, even the Marvel movies that aren't as stellar. Like I'm a person who loved Iron Man 3. I know some people really despise that one, but for me, it's always worked. But even something like Iron Man 2 or Thor 2, I find them infinitely rewatchable just as part of the film universe that they already are. The Incredible Hulk that had Edward Norton in it before it was really like truly integrated. Yeah, I like that movie a lot. There's none of these have been something that I don't like, but I haven't found myself rewatching Doctor Strange yet. Although I loved how they utilized Doctor Strange in Thor Ragnarok.
Oh yeah,
I kind of liked that more than I like the Doctor Strange movie, because I think it gets to a point where you've done your establishment and then you can have more fun with these characters. Ant-Man, I like, but I don't feel that solid connection to, but I find that I'm pretty excited for Ant-Man and the Wasp, maybe for the same reasons. But this is like, I went out of there and I'm like, this is just a great movie. And I had a friend at lunch today ask me if I'd seen it yet, and he hasn't. And the other guy we were with was like, well, do I have to know all the other Marvel movies? And I don't think that you do. I think that they cover what you know of T'Challa from Civil War enough that there's not a lot of self-referential stuff in this of like, oh, and here's where he makes a comment about Captain America, or here's where he makes some reference to something coming up. Even the end credits stinger isn't a huge stinger. I don't know if you haven't seen the other movies that you'll get much out of it, but it's kind of like a breath of, oh yeah, these things are still interconnected, and it gives you a check-in on someone that you haven't seen for a bit. But the stuff with Martin Freeman's character, Claw, was like the most established from something that was outside of where Black Panther's been. I'm disappointed that character probably not going to make a return, because I think Andy Serkis did really good in it, but I'm also glad that he wasn't a primary part of this movie.
So here's where we definitely get into spoiler territory, because I want to hit on this a little bit, because that in part sets up a plot hole. The fact that we have that the whole setup for that scene was Killmonger was going to use Claw to, and by the way, I freaking love Andy Serkis as Claw. Yep. I saw him as more of a villain leading on asshole in Civil War, and then here it's just like, all right, he's just an asshole. You know, he's just in this for himself. And gosh, okay, I'm as a side, I'm on the Wikipedia page right now for all Marvel Cinematic Universe. Still love seeing C. Robert Cargill in the writer section for Doctor Strange. It's so great. But there's a little plot hole in there. And the thing, when Killmonger kills, and I'm using air quotes there, Claw, yeah. Didn't he still need him to fly to Wakanda because he had never been there, didn't know how to get there?
No, I think he was implying to him at first that he didn't know how to get there, but he knew, because he had all the stuff from his dad, all his notes and stuff that he wasn't supposed to be looking at. They showed the point where he's talking to his father, you know, already passed and stuff. He's talking to the ghost of his dad, like Charlotte did earlier with his dad. But he had all those books and stuff to look up and find out about Wakanda and know about it and probably know where to find it. So it was more or less they were leading Claw on to take them there, but they were always planning on taking him out or turning him in.
Yeah.
So I don't know that it's really a plot hole.
Yeah, and I mean, honestly, this is where I really wish they didn't kill Claw, because
absolutely.
I like the fact that we have that he's a great villain. He'd be a great, you know, antagonist for a Black Panther sequel, and you know, in other things, you know, like the little wheeling dealing guy.
If they used him in the way that they use Scarecrow in the Nolan Batman movies, where he's never the main villain, but he just has appearances here and there, yes. But I can also see, how much do we really want to concentrate on this white guy in these movies, that obviously it's going to do better to empower more Black actors to be in them and make a better... I guess it's a matter of looking forward into where their plans are going next with these films. But I like Claw, and I think that there's certainly more that could have been done with him in other parts. But it's kind of like Crossbones in Captain America, Winter Soldier, and then Captain America, Civil War. It's like, oh, well, Crossbones. We now know who he's going to be in the next movie. And then we see him for 5 minutes, and then he's gone. Because what we're really going up against is Thanos.
So the other part, I'm
just saying, at some point, Black Panther can fight Baltruck the Leaper.
No, because he was in Winter Soldier.
Right, I know, but I'm saying that he didn't die.
Oh, true. Actually, no, that would be good, because I mean that's George St. Pierre. He would I love that fight scene in Winter Soldier, just because of the fact that, you know, George St. Pierre brings that authenticity with the fighting. You know, because he is a UFC fighter and stuff, so it's like, you know, I hear what you're saying and I love it. I in my head I just sound like a marketing executive or something.
then, sir, can I tell you about my idea for Blue Bedpan?
Why, yes. I'm trying to think of what to say about Black Panther that hasn't been said, because I mean,
just say see it.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, go see it.
If you've never seen a Marvel Universe movie, give this one a shot. If you've seen them all, you're not going to be disappointed in this.
No,
it is an excellent Marvel Cinematic Universe film, and it is an excellent film on its own. there's certainly advantages of it being in the Marvel universe. I don't want to undersell that point. It gets to take advantage of that the same as any other film that's come out in the last 5 years has. But it is just a really, really good, entertaining movie that does a lot that other movies have not done yet. And it's very exciting that Marvel has taken chances on a film like this, on a reasonably new director, on a cast, and said, we're all in.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of like the Netflix thing of, oh yeah, you know, you want to make a TV series, here's multiple millions of dollars to go make this series and bring it to us. Except Marvel was always a part of this, and they just picked the right guy and the right actors and everything to make it happen. But they put everything into it. Like Ant-Man still feels like a small movie. This did not.
Yeah. So I want to point out here, because Beat mentioned about, you know, or after Phase 4, that this is the one thing that I like with, at least on the Wikipedia page, that Marvel has when you search up Marvel Cinematic Universe, as opposed to DC. And I think this is DC's problem. I can sum it up right here. You look at the after Black Panther, which is in theaters right now, what's coming out next and what they've announced. You have Avengers Infinity War, which is coming out on May 4th. May the 4th be with you. Of this year, you got Ant-Man and the Wasp, which is coming out July 6th. Both those are in post-production. They have, after those two, Captain Marvel, another Avengers film, a Spider-Man Homecoming sequel, and then Guardians Volume 3, leading up to 2020. That's it. And Venom's one of those areas, and then, you know, getting X-Men, you know, the X-Men franchise back and the Fantastic Four back would be another area thing. But with this here, you know, that's, you look at, on the other side, you look at DC, they have stuff announced. It's all pre-production and nothing out. I feel like that's the big problem here, is Marvel's working so on, like, okay, what's next? Like, here, boom, 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 getting them like, what's next? Get it done. Next, done. Next, done. They announced that big old slate, you know, shortly after DC announced theirs at Comic-Con, or however that worked, you know, where we got, you know, from, it was like after Age of Ultron or Ant-Man. I think Ant-Man was coming out at that year's San Diego Comic-Con. And both sides announced all their platforms. Here's the difference. Marvel has changed 2 things, like 2 or 3 things in there, and so far has stuck to their plan of what they're doing. DC has not. DC needs to get their, you know, I'm hoping like with what we covered in the news, I'm hoping these people are the people who will get it to where you look at DC's film universe to where it'll eventually start looking like Marvel's, where they've got 5 films that are in the works for the next 4 years, you know, 4 or 5 years, as opposed to, we've got this big long slate all the way up until 2199, but we're going to change it. It's like, no, don't, you know, that's private, secret, whiteboard stuff behind the video camera that you're sharing there. You don't need to share that to hype up fans, because guess what? We're already going to be hyped up.
I do want to comment that the biggest dick slinging ever is that Disney owns
By Ron Jeremy?
Marvel. Disney owns Marvel and Star Wars. They have a film release on May the 4th. They don't put the Star Wars movie on it.
Well, that's also because,
by the way, Ron Jeremy for Wolverine in the Marvel Universe. Heard it here first, folks. Peace.
The Star Wars movie that would be coming out this year is Solo.
Solo, right.
And I mean, but I feel like next year, if the episode 9 does not come out on May the 4th, or, you know, like right around there, then yeah, that's a missed opportunity. But Solo, where I like the trailer, but a lot of people are like, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not disagreeing with you, but it's just, we have a Star Wars movie coming out in May. We have another movie coming out in May, on May the 4th, not the Star Wars movie. That is either we really have no confidence in Solo, or we have just so much more confidence in Marvel than we do in Star Wars at this moment.
What I'm hearing is we need a Marvel Day. However we determine it, we need a Marvel Day and we need to release a Star Wars movie on that day.
That's the thing. This is the opportunity to do that. You get that once every 6 years, every 5 to 6 years because of leap years and stuff. You have the opportunity to have a Marvel release or a movie release on May the 4th. If you go off of the regular release cycle of films, the one day a week that the new movies come out, the release date being May the 4th, like I said, once every 4 or 5 years because of leap years.
Mm-hmm.
So to have that synchronicity and you have that pocket and to not utilize it means that they know Solo ain't got shit on the Avengers.
I mean, from what I remember, isn't there 2 Star Wars days? There's May the 4th, but then other people celebrate. I'm blanking on the day. It's the day that the first Star Wars came out.
Yeah, whatever. It's May the 4th and Revenge of the 6th.
Yeah, but I look at that as where, yeah, it is, May the 4th and all that stuff, but that's the free comic book tie-in, lead-in movie. That's what you're going to see, all the stuff, in free comic day and all.
If only Marvel had a comic publishing company, and if only that publishing company had Star Wars comics available to them as well. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying that they're wrong to do it. No, I'm just saying this is like I whipped out my dick and beat you over the head with it, and it felt just like getting hit with Cap's shield. Because that's what it is. Nothing as clumsy as a fucking blaster is going to hold up against Mjolnir.
So actually, this is going to tie right into our ElseWords. The big discussion point, because there's nothing else to say about Black Panther other than go see the fucking movie.
Go see the goddamn movie.
For more on this Galactic Network podcast, go to gncast.com. That's GNCASTS.com.